Hello and welcome. It's Sunday, the 16th of July 2023, and it marks the 362nd anniversary of the first European banknote issued by the Bank of Stockholm in 1661. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoy my vlogs, please encourage others to share and subscribe. 1948 was a significant year. American President Harry S. Truman was the first to formally recognize the new state of Israel. Jeremy Irons and Samuel L. Jackson were born, as was our King Charles III. And of course, in the UK, we've been celebrating the 75th anniversary of the NHS. And a lot of criticism has come along and has been thrown at the NHS recently. One observation claims that the NHS mortality rate is one of the highest in Europe. On closer examination, these comments are more amusing than accurate. Most of the mortality figures are based on those who are over 85 and are at the end of life care. And don't get me wrong, I agree totally there could be lots of improvements for the NHS. Fewer admin staff for a start, and more medical staff and professionals. And above all, improve medical records. The number of people who comment that when they do get sight of their records that they're inaccurate. And please turn down the heating. And above all, mend the accident and emergency departments. Before passing judgment, remember that in an emergency there is no other better than the NHS. The private sector, they really focus more on easier procedures which are cheaper. There are many reports that the NHS are having to take on patients from a private hospital who botched up a procedure. The major issue for the NHS has to be agreed that 30% of the European staff left overnight when there was an ill thought through, nay, shall I say, no thinking at all, political decision was made with no consideration of consequences. It's all well and good now to say that we're going to recruit and train more staff, but that takes time and in some cases many years. During the pandemic, the nurses in the NHS were applauded, but when it came to a pay review, they were dismissed and in my view treated very badly. My only comment here is if there's enough to pay agency staff 40% higher in many cases, then there's enough money to offer a decent pay review. Hypochondriacs and drunks don't help the NHS either. I read with amusement an article this week that a number of diabetics are getting very upset and are distraught, and in some cases they're in despair. They've had an implant made and they use an app so that they can measure their blood sugars. But it turns out that most of these apps don't actually work. So my simple answer is just go back to pricking your finger like I do every morning and every afternoon and doing your blood tests on a simple meter. In my opinion, having the app was really just a lazy way of dealing with something. When it comes to alcoholics blocking the accident emergency entrances, Scandinavia have the answer. If you're drunk, go home. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, toodle pip.